So we got a few guest speakers here, and then we're going to take input from everybody that's out there. We're going to write everything down, and we're going to try and put some of our ideas into action. I'd like to thank Lynn Camp for covering this tonight. Jamie from the mayor's office came, Congressman Tierney, Brendan Crichton, City Council, was here earlier. I don't want to miss anybody. So I'm going to get going and not speak too much. I want to read the mission statement that we've developed and we hope to stick to, and just thank everybody once again. And I want to mention one thing that Reverend Hardy from St. Stephen's Church years ago told me and a bunch of people, that if you want to complain, you want to change things, you want to complain about things that are being done to you, the only way to change that is to become part of the doing. So by all of us being here tonight, we're becoming part of the doing, and that's what we hope to accomplish. We hope to accomplish something about the problems of youth violence in the city of Lynn. And with that, I'll read our mission statement and move on with the program. Our mission is to promote, actively engage, and coordinate youth activities and educate our youth to stem the tide of violence in our community. And our purpose is to stop youth violence. Lynn is an anti-violence campaign. Stop Youth Violence Lynn is an anti-violence campaign aimed at middle school and high school students to draw attention to the epidemic of violence and bullying today's young people are experiencing, and to discuss practical solutions to violence and managing the actions and emotions that often lead to violent acts. And with that, I'd like to introduce Rob Smith, who's going to discuss the rules of the rally.
Good evening. First, if I may ask, could everybody please put their phone on silent or turn it off, please? Just a couple of things I want to go over. We are not here to bash any group or specific department of people. We are here to get ideas from you, the citizens of Lynn, on how to stop the violence in our city. You, the youth, and the citizens are the future, and this is your opportunity to help make a change. When something violent happens in the city, I see on social media a lot of negative and a whole lot of positive opinions being thrown out. This is your chance to speak in front of your peers on ideas and to get your voice heard. I have another thing I'd like to say. This is a very important question that I have to ask. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. The only question, and you must remember this, the only question that is a stupid question is a question you do not ask. We will do our best to answer all your questions to the best of our ability. But what we really want is your ideas. Your ideas are the most important thing. Again, my name is Rob Smith. Along with my fellow committee members, we have formed a new organization called Stop the Violence Lynn. My members are Pete Capano, John Ford, Antonio Gutierrez, Fred Hogan, and last but definitely not least, Ebony White. Thank you for your time.
Before I introduce our next speaker, I'd also like to recognize the Lynn item and thank them for covering this event. And also, there are groups working in the city on the problems with youth that we have, and our goal isn't to compete with any group. We're here to work with all the groups. Straight Ahead Ministries is here tonight. We thank them for that. Lysoa is also here, and we thank you for coming. Our next speaker is Mike Gary, who's from the school department, and the schools have a lot of programs that can involve our youth, and most people that I deal with in the school are very interested in seeing how we can do more and getting the word out about some of the programs we do have that a lot of people don't know about. So I'd like to thank Mike for coming and like to introduce Mike Gary.
Thanks a lot, Pete. As he mentioned, my name's Mike Geary. I'm the Assistant Director of Health and Wellness from the school department. Certainly honored to be invited to be a speaker here tonight. I actually heard a few kids earlier today talking about the basketball tournament last night and how that drew attention to this cause, which was absolutely excellent to hear about. I'm certainly, as an athletics person, I'm certainly biased. I think athletics, whenever you want to get a message out there, is certainly a great draw. So it was certainly exciting to hear about that. The other thing that's great to see is a lot of community members, different community members that are here today. They're here tonight, and they also, whenever we do any of our safety programs within the school, they come out for it. And I think that's a special thing that we have in Lynn, is all the community people coming together to send the same message to the parents and the students, which I think is very effective. They're not just hearing it from the schools or just hearing it from the police or political people or whatever the case may be. I think it's great that we're all sending the same message together. In the school department, I just want to touch on a few of the things and promote a few of the things as we go into the next school year that we try to do as anti-violence initiatives at the different grade levels. We have, in the springtime towards the end of the school year, we have our elementary school safety nights where we try to inform the elementary students about certainly some of the dangers that are associated with going into the summer. We also talk a lot about the different programs, the library, the Parks and Recreation Department, some of the swimming programs within the city, things that elementary students can get into so that they're not doing things outside on their own that can, as we know, can get themselves into trouble. This year coming up, we're excited to have, I'm sure some of you have heard about it, Chris Herron, former Boston Celtics basketball player, who certainly has his story about violence and about drugs and how they've ruined his life and what a turnaround that he's made. So again, towards the end of the school year, we're going to have him come in to talk to the middle school students to prevent that behavior. And also at the high school level, we have various safety programs that are themed around prom season to keep the students safe. So again, those are a few things that we wanted to touch on and promote here. There were two quick points that I wanted to make as potential alternatives to violence for students. As I mentioned, I'm certainly a big sports person, and I wanted to convey the message to all the kids out there about what an advantage playing sports can be in different aspects of your life, in addition to keeping you away from violence and off the streets. I think anybody that's played sports at any level can tell you that the time management skills that you learn about are valuable. There's a lot of things that you could be doing outside the sports field during that time that wouldn't help you out in life. But I think the people that have played sports throughout their lives can certainly tell you about not only the experience that they've had on the field, but most importantly, or more importantly, I should say, the connections that they've made off the field with people that have helped them out in different aspects of their life. So I wanted to, seeing this as somewhat of a sports rally, especially last night, I wanted to emphasize that fact. Kids, I know there's a lot of different sports out there for you to play, and it's great to get involved with as much of them as you can. The data out there is absolutely stunning to show how much playing sports reduces your aggression, and you're a lot less likely to do things that you wouldn't want to do after you play a sport and you get that energy out of you. And again, it doesn't even have to be an organized sport. It could be something as simple as playing outside on your own and getting exercise to release all that energy that's built up inside of you. So again, I think that's a great tie that I wanted to make with the evening. The other thing that I did want to touch upon, something else that occasionally does lead to violence that we see in the schools, is the dangers of social media. And I know it was touched upon prior to me coming up here. I'm not saying that Facebook and Twitter and all the different types of social media, I'm not saying that they're all bad, because there's a lot of good things that go along with it, but I think, and we try to promote this a lot in the schools with the media, I think everybody can agree there's a lot of dangers that go along with it that a lot of times kids might not see. A lot of the things on social media can build up inside students when they read something. Something might appear worse to them than it actually is when they read it on the computer. And I think a lot of times it builds up inside of them, and all of a sudden it releases to a rage. So I think a lot of times that's the danger of texting and emailing too much and using too much of the technology that we have, that you're not you're not practicing those people skills and those communication skills. It's important to talk and release your feelings and your energy that way. I think that's definitely an important thing that we want to talk about. And also, the last thing I want to touch on regarding social media, there's a lot of dangers out there. A lot of students might not realize that somebody that they're talking to on Facebook or on Twitter could be a dangerous person that is looking to harm them. Okay, as scary as that is to say, it's important for kids to be aware, even though they might feel comfortable sitting at their house, behind their computer, or behind their phone. It's important to know that there's a lot of dangers, and there could be a lot of dangers on the other side of that. Unfortunately, people that are looking to harm them. So there are a lot of dangers that go along with that we did want to, that I do want to touch upon. Again, if you're worried about any sort of violence, whether it's inside the school or outside the school, the best advice, tell a trusted adult before the situation escalates. Because when you don't tell somebody, that's when the situation gets worse, and that's when the consequences can get a lot worse. So that's something that we always try to promote in the schools. We try to have a student, or I should say, a trusted adult within the building that each student feels comfortable to talk about their problems with. So again, I'll be available after if anybody has any questions. But again, I want to thank the committee for having me and inviting me to be part of the evening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mike. Our next speaker is from the Lynn Police Department. The Lynn Police have been very helpful in stemming the tide here. They're very easy. They always respond when we call them as counselors. They come to neighborhood meetings, and we appreciate that, and very helpful with information. Officer Nardone here has been very active in the community over the years, and really glad and happy to have him here tonight. And with that, I'd like to introduce Officer Ed Nardone.
Good evening. Thank you, Pete. On behalf of the Chief of the City of Lynn Police Department, Kevin Coppinger, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you here this evening, and it's very nice to see the turnout that we have. The City of Lynn, as you know, is rich in history and steeped in cultural diversity, and we depend upon our citizens to carry on the legacy that Lynn has set down before us over the years. Lynn is a wonderful place to raise a family, get a quality education, and be proud to say that this is where you are from. But it takes more. It takes more than just simply saying what it is that we intend to do to make the city better. We hope this evening that the message that you hear resonates beyond the walls of this gymnasium, and that you take that message back to your communities, back to your neighborhoods, to your family, to your friends, and to anyone else that you feel needs to hear the message that violence, not only within the City of Lynn, but throughout the country, needs to come to an end. There are too many ways out there for us to channel our energy in positive directions to put a stem to the violence. Each one of us here, I would imagine, is very intelligent, and you know different ways that we know violence can be addressed. We cannot depend on the police alone to be the agent to handle the violence within our communities. The City of Lynn Police Department realizes that in order to affect change, we work very closely with a variety of agencies and organizations throughout the city. The school department, our local political force, social service organizations such as Straight Ahead Ministries, to name one, churches, various religious groups, and a whole host of other agencies within the city to get a handle and a clearer understanding on what it is that is not only going on in the streets of Lynn, but to actively engage our citizens to become part of a more positive team out there to spread the message that violence within the city needs to stop, and that you are in fact the means by which that message can get out there. And I would encourage each and every one of us here tonight to spread that message so that we can get a firm handle on what's going on within the city. Thank you very much.
Perhaps there's nobody in this part of the city that is involved in the community more than our next speaker. He's been very active in youth sports and other things that people don't even know about. I could go on forever talking about our next speaker, and we're really proud to be working with him and glad to have him here. And let me, with that, introduce our next speaker, Fred Hogan.
Actually, I'm actually just going to be introducing someone that's going to be coming up next, but that's all right. Myself, I took a different turn to do positive things about 22 years ago. I decided to, do things the right way and raise a family. I raised my family right here in Ward 6. I'm still down on 17 LaGrange Terrace where I was born and raised. I was brought in that house when I was 6 months old. But I stayed in my community, and I care about my community. I care about the city we live in. And believe me, I talked to a lot of the people that are here who came out tonight, and they want change. And the thing is people are like, Fred, what can we do? Well, we can do this. We can put a committee together, but we need input from everyone else, and we need ideas and things like that there. Someone I've been talking with is Jessica Ciappini. She's been really good giving me ideas and things like that there, and the committee themselves have come up with a lot of ideas. But like myself, what I did to turn my life around 22 years ago, our next speaker for the last 2 years has been amazing to the turnaround he had in his life and the violence that he was in trouble with and things like that there and his struggles with drugs and alcohol and things like that there. But I'll tell you what, following Carvel Cox on Facebook is the greatest thing in the world. The kid's up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every day, takes 2 trains, 2 buses and a train to work. He's a plumber's apprentice, licensed by Massachusetts right now. He's doing unbelievable. He always has money in his wallet now. I'm talking about $100 bills, because every time I walk up to him, I ask him to see those there. But this is what we're talking about. We're not going to save every single kid in the world. But if we can save a couple kids, or we can help a couple kids, that's the job we want to do. And that's what we want to try to do. But right now, I'd like to introduce Carvel Cox.
This right here is amazing. I used to play right here in this gym, Lynn Classical, back in '89. Remember dropping 30 points in here on a regular. But anyways, yeah, I've been sober for 2 years now, and I grew up on these streets right down here, LaGrange Terrace. Often not always to come down there, tell us to get out of there, but we didn't listen. And but all alcohol and drugs and the violence got to me real bad in 2000. My mother passed away. I got divorced, and 6 months later, my mother died of cancer, and it tore me up. I was lost. I couldn't see my kids. I had a restraining order and all that crazy stuff, so I went to the streets really hard, drinking, and I've been stabbed so many times, been shot at, and I did the same thing back to people, which now I look on was like, God has a purpose for me in my life now, because there's no way I shouldn't be dead or in jail for a long time. And yeah. And the best thing about it, 2 years ago I went to the Ryan House in Lynn. Everybody's like, don't go to Lynn. You're from Lynn. You know all the drug dealers. You know this. You know that. I said, but I'm tired. I went to Salvation Army, got kicked out for drinking. That was in Saugus. I went to Interim House in Dorchester, got kicked out for fighting. So God had to show me, Carvel, you cannot drink and you cannot fight. Those were my 2 things. So I said, all right, let me try to go home. So I came home. Thank God I did, because we have to walk the means. We had to walk the means everywhere in Lynn. And a lot of my buddies used to drive by me in the cars, watching me walk with like 16 dudes. But the main thing about it, you had to humble yourself. I had to humble myself to let them say, oh, look at him there, look at him now. But that's all right. Look at me now, though. 2 years later, I got my apprentice license plumbing. And finally I'm telling you, life is so much better now. It's funny because we just had the basketball tournament down there in Gardens, and I'm sitting there with my buddies. They're drinking their beers, smoking their little weed. And at the end of the night, I know when their hearts are hot, they're not happy because I've been there. I love to go home and get in my bed. I don't have to worry about that drink in the morning or that drug the next day to get off eat. Oh, none of that. That doesn't live in my life no more. It doesn't exist. And the best thing about it, my kids, man, they're gonna be back in my life real soon. I had to get a lawyer and take care of all that. You know? And I think that's my main focus for the kids, to let all the kids in the neighborhood kids see me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, to let them see the type of guy I used to be. Freddie, I used to make him, he's like my brother. I used to make him nervous to be around me, and that's sad. If you see, I used to be able to walk by a drug dealer's house or whatever. They'd see me coming, they'd step inside their doorway, and I look back when I get by their house, then they look back out. That's how nervous these people were, man. And it's sad that I was living that lifestyle, man. But there's a way out. But the main thing about violence is violence of yourself, because that's what I had violence against Carvel. I didn't love myself, so I didn't want you to love yourself, so I treat you bad. And that's what it was. Stop the violence with yourself, kids. That's where you start at first. And I always say every morning, I look in that mirror, I say always kiss the person you see in that mirror and hug yourself, and then share that hug through the day. 2 years ago, that was not happening at all. I'm telling you, I was an angry person. I know one thing, them Lynn cops, I know they're glad I'm off the streets. I don't mess around no more, because they beep at me now. Before, they'd be like, we'd run a warrant, see if I had any warrants. I don't have that problem no more. That's by the grace of God. And just the kids out here nowadays, everybody, I don't see the kids going to the boys club or playing the basketball court, none of that no more. Everybody's home on the video games. All the video games is about killing, and that's it. And they watch rap videos. That's not real, kids. All that rap videos and the movies you see are not real. It's all crap. So don't think that, because you will be seeing officers not on at your door, and you don't want that. Because myself, I'm ending with this. Myself, I had to go away. The law got tired of me. I had to go do 2.5 years in jail, and I would never forget. All-American football, All-American basketball. I ran track for class, had a full scholarship to go play football in Kansas. Came back my sophomore year, didn't go back. Started running with my boys. That's how I got divorced, because I was drinking, not going home, and had 2 beautiful kids, but I didn't see that. I was in that fog thinking all my boys. Nah, when I got locked up and I was in that hole for 30 days, none of my boys came to see me. None of that, man. My mother passed away. I remember sleeping up in that cemetery when I got out of jail. Nobody would let me come out and sleep in the cemetery for 9 days till my grandfather got out the hospital. That's where my life brought me. Sitting in that cell, thinking like, how did I get here? I lived in Swampscott, a house, car, all that stuff, man. But I came from Vine Street. I grew up in Crown Circle. I lived on Alley Street. I lived on Vine Street, all the roughest streets in Lynn I lived at. Man, just like, how did you lose all that, Carvel? I know what it was. I lost my spirituality. That's what happened. I was spiritually dead. I thought I was God. And God had put me right back in my place. And now I know who the man really is. And just got to take it one day at a time, kids. That's why I'm glad I'm back here, so that people that can see. Most people, when they make it or get better, they leave. People can see me every day and walk up to me and touch me and say, yo, it's real. Because people who know me, they know. There's got to be something bigger than myself to have me the way I am right now. And just for the grace of God, kids, man, when you go home tonight, kids, kiss your mother or your father, because you never know when they're going to be gone. And when they're gone, that's the only person you really going to have that's going to really love you is your parents unconditionally. And God bless you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Carl. Next speaker has been very helpful to me. I met him as a city councilor a few years ago when we were having problems in the neighborhood, and has become a very close friend, not only a valuable asset to the community, but very dear to my heart, my friend Antonio Gutierrez. He's the next speaker. So.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see not just the kids, but it's great to see parents. Carvel, I love you, man. I think, you know, the stories that some of the people from the same, I'm not from Lynn. I think everybody knows that by the hat that I consistently wear that I don't have on right now. Born and raised in New York. but my dead end was in a burned down bathroom on Upham's Corner and Columbia Road in Boston about almost 15, next month will be almost 15 years ago. So it's saddened when I arrived here in Lynn at the state of mind of some of the young people that were running around, right, the city, and the things that were going on when I moved to the city. Now, I have my son, the little one, will be 8 years old next week. And the thing that I tell myself that in anything that I do for the next 5 years will be detrimental to his upbringing as a father or as the man or male role model in his life, right? Because I got 9 kids. My partner, my fiance, we got 12 kids between us and 11 grandkids. I have 8 grown 20 years and above. All my sons have all been to jail. All my sons dealt drugs. All my sons went to jail, right? They all banged. They all did exactly what I taught them. So how is it that at almost 50 years old, I'm gonna walk around like I'm gangster with my pants half sagging and then wonder why our youth, our young men, are coming up the way they are? So whatever I do in my community, because I'm not from here, but I live here, and I've been here, I don't know, 12, 13, I lost count after 10. This is my city. This is where I walk the streets. This is where we shop. This is where my daughter graduated from Fecteau. My other daughter graduated, 2 of our kids graduated from tech. 1 graduated from English, right? 3 of them, 2 of them off to college, 1 going back to college, right? And 1 took what she learned at tech and is what she does today, which is work in a preschool. So whatever it is that we do as a community, and I'll tell you that, you know, Carvel talked, listen, I shot heroin, I smoked crack, I sniffed. I went from, you know, at 6'1", weighing 118 pounds, right? Wasn't a pretty, I got a picture in my office of the last time I got arrested in Staten Island, New York, posted on my wall. So whenever I sit at my desk, I look and I say, you know what? I don't have to live like that anymore. Most people in the city see me walking up and down and talking to this kid, and of course, you know, most young people, I know, okay, you know. And I tell you, I went to City Hall a couple nights ago. I went to the swearing in of the new captain and the lieutenant and the sergeant, and I'm standing there. There was a couple of officers, and then a couple more showed up, and then a couple more, and I swear to God, I'm standing in the mayor's office, and all I see, and I'm going like this, and all you see is police officers. Almost 15 years ago, I wouldn't have been caught dead in a room like that, right? And almost 90% of them knew me by my name and shook my hand. Deal is, I don't look over my shoulder anymore. So everything that I do in this community, and I'm not just talking, I'm talking in Lynn in general. When we took the project on at Henry Ave Park, it was a huge problem. And I gotta say, Sergeant Adon, thank you, because I can recall you were cutting trees back with one of the gang members, right? We're talking about bringing the police department, bringing the gang members back into the park, rebuilding. $65,000 later, brand new play structure, brand new basketball court, and it hasn't been destroyed, and this was over 5 years ago. So if one person that's not from here can start a movement with a bunch of gentlemen and a young lady from the city, along with the help of the parents in the city, because I see a lot of parents here, if we can combine some ideas and put it on paper and make a movement, things can happen. But we can't sit around and wait and then want to complain about it, right? We want to, oh, why can't this be done? Why can't they do this? Well, why don't you get up, walk out the door, find us, and let's make things happen. It has been a blessing. I mean, I didn't think I was going to see 35. I will be 50 years old next, and I say old because these dogs have walked a lot of streets in Lynn. And I say walk because I tell you, I've walked and walked and walked some more and talked and watched a lot of the kids grow up. Last night we were in here, and I tell you that it was 3 o'clock, and Freddie will tell you because it was 3 o'clock, and the outside parking lot was already full in the rain, waiting to get in. And it didn't even take 25 of us in one room to figure out what school. It took 5 of us and brought in Ebony, right? And I think it was in 4 meetings. We had about 140, 150 kids in here last night. It was hot. Everybody was sweating. But let me tell you something. The kids left here, they ate pizza, they drank water, they got gift cards, no fights, no violence, and everybody left knowing that there can be a good movement going on. But without your help, we can't do this. I mean, we can't do it alone. I've been blessed to be able to go to different places, and I'll close with this. If you knew me back from where I was when I was sleeping in that burned down bathroom next to that cemetery on Nuffin's Corner, right? We just got, and that's why I'm all dressed up. People ain't used to seeing me in a suit or whatever. I'm not used to, she helps me dress because I'm not even used to seeing me in a suit. We just came from Boston, the district court, that we got an invitation from one of the judges that we've been working with for the last few years in juvenile court. Instead of locking up our young people, she would give them to us, right? She invited us to her ceremony where she has become the Chief Justice for the state of Massachusetts in the juvenile court system, personally inviting us. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening to, she's thanking everybody, and then specifically called us telling about the work and stuff that we have done. And I'm sitting and I'm still baffled at the fact that after all these years, the passion in me to still do this work, right? I'm getting a little old, so I can't do this alone. The paper's there, and I'm sure you guys got a head full of ideas. So let's get together and start working on this and put this plan together, and let's get this thing in action and in motion. Because you got some people up here that are eager to make a move. Well, I like to think I know I am. Freddie, how about you, Freddie? See, Freddie's ready, man. We're ready. As tired as we are after yesterday, we're ready. Thank you for your time, and thank you for coming out.
We have one more speaker. All I can say is this guy's done so much over the years. Just a few years ago, we had a discussion with Freddie, I think, too, and other people from the Garden and John Ford about how we could open up Lynn Tech at night. And we had a meeting similar to this. And it's one of those things where everyone says, yeah, we should open the school at night. Yeah, it's a good idea. But everybody says, yeah, but somehow it don't happen, right? Well, John was one of the people that made that happen. That was really good. I could go on and on about the things that John's done for the community. And with that, I'd like to introduce John Ford.
One good thing about us old guys is we're brief. I'm the senior citizen of the group. When Freddie called me and asked me to be part of it, I jumped at it. Ebony and this bunch of thugs, great to be with, great guys. We have a lot of fun at the meetings. You know, I got 4 daughters. My baby's 41. I think they're pretty safe, but I got 5 grandkids. And I'm worried about the streets of Lynn, and I'm worried about them being out there, and I want them to be safe. You know, years ago we had a thing called Neighborhood Crime Watch, where people actually, the parents and all of the citizens got involved, and for a while it worked. But it was like anything else I see in this city. It dies out. When you lose interest in it and you don't keep following up on it, things just have a tendency to fade away. You know, since this is kind of like two confessions tonight, 16 years ago, I was a fallen down drunken, Lynn. You know, my life was a mess, and I thought at that time I was too old to do anything about it. But I wasn't, and thank God that I got involved in a program, and things worked out for my life. I saved the family. You know, my daughters, you know, they love you unconditionally, but you know, I was a real pain in the ass. I wasn't any bargain for them to come home to and my wife to live with. But you know, I put things together, and you know, things that are broken can be fixed. You know, I thought everything was over at 53 years old, but it wasn't. You know, I get a great life today, and things are going well. And that's why I enjoy getting involved and trying to do things, you know. But the police and all of the people up at this podium tonight can't do it without somebody, without all of you giving us some help. And we're looking for ideas, suggestions, anything you can think of, because even the smallest idea could become a great gift. So join in and help us out, okay? And we're going to try making this a big thing.
I was just reminded, before we continue with the program, for people to keep in the back of their mind, we're planning a march next month, in the middle of September, maybe, so people be aware of that, you know, throughout the city, from Westland to Eastland. So this part of the program, we're going to be seeking ideas from you. I mean, this isn't about us trying to figure out, you know, we don't have the solutions here. I mean, this is a collective experience, and we need a collective solution. So we want to be able to take your ideas and be able to work with them to try and make ideas happen. That's why we're here. So with that, anybody that wants to come up and make a comment or has an idea, what we're going to do is write everything down over here on this easel over here, and we're going to take it back and we're going to get to work. So with that, I'd like to call this young lady up right here. Sure. Yeah, people will come up and, you know, give you comments, and we'll write them down here. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Giselle Vargas, and I grew up at living in the Grange Terrace. I know Freddie and some of these people for a long time. I have a son who's 19 years old, and I wish that he would just get a job. So if there's anything like that relates to helping kids get jobs, I think that would be good. He has a job now, but I had a job since I was 14, so I didn't understand why it was so hard to find jobs, but I think it's very hard to find jobs. So if we could make that a little bit easier. And then on the parent side, when it comes to social media, you know how they have all these slang words. If we could do like somebody teach us something so I could know something about what he's saying, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Come on up.
Hi, my name is Jesse Warren. I currently work at the Lynn YMCA, Sports and Wellness Coordinator. I have a lot of experience working with kids and youth of the city. But my suggestion, I'm going to try to tie it into two things. Working with kids, I get the sense of, you know, there's a lot of issues that when we're with these kids, that we can't handle or we have no control of, because, you know, we're only with them for so long. But it would be, you know, monitoring the kids. So I would say for the parents, that's even myself, because I have a little guy that I consider my little brother, a little son, but he's my little brother. Just watching our kids, and like when I work with my counselors, I just say the smallest thing as far as just taking them out to play catch with them for 10 minutes. Engaging with them, and so it's the engagement piece, I would say, with our kids, is just taking the time to ask them how the day went, what's the low point of their day, and how we can just communicate with them. And so tying into that would be if Lynn Cam can come out with or Lynn in itself, using Lynn Cam, come out with a commercial I would say like a real in-depth commercial, like a serious commercial that just shows, you know, the parent or just pretty much the parent and the son relationship. I just think that, you know, it's hard to keep a close eye on these kids, but they watch TV. But I just think engaging with the kids, and maybe if Lynn came up with their own little type of commercial where it was just really touching and in an affectionate way. So that's my idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Next. You can, absolutely. Okay, so can we just go through, because yeah, there's quite a bit. Well, okay, all right. Okay, teach parents, is that on there? Tell me where you started. Parents need more support. Can't always blame the parent. Need a parent committee for parents. That was one of the key things I think you said. Yeah, so I think those are great. So the people say the old saying is really corny and everything. It takes a village to raise a community. It's really true, right? Is what you're saying. So what we're trying to do here, rather than fault finding, we're fact finding and seeing if we can, rather than come up with the problems, find some solutions to the problem. So you have some really good ideas, you know. So, but I just wanted to make sure we had them. I think we got most of them here, and we can talk about that because I think they're great ideas. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Peace, everyone. Master, I see Allah. It's great to see you all here together. It's great to see us all here together. I'd like to begin as far as the question of representation in the city. I think that's a serious one, and I think it's something that we should pay more attention to. You don't have to write that down. And as far as relationships with the police, that's a little more complicated, I think, than as was simply stated. But I'll get to this subject right here. Myself and my brothers, about 2 years ago, we got together and we initiated a park cleanup. That particular park cleanup, it started slow, but as we progressed from one park to the next, we picked up extra people who wanted to get involved. We understood that the change and the difference needed to start with us. Like you said earlier, there's no sense in complaining. We got to talk about solutions. Solutions is what the conversation should consist of. But when we were cleaning up these parks, we thought it was a great success because we were able to turn this community responsibility, we were able to turn it onto individuals that in general probably wouldn't have been interested in this. It's kind of like when I had to do my community service, everybody else had a problem cleaning up the parks and stuff, and I was like, guys, this is what we should be doing. So that was a great success. I guess what I'm trying to get at is not only was our initiative a success, but this recent initiative from the funds that were released and they're being used to redo a lot of these parks. They added a water park next to Lynn Tech. The water park next to Flax Pond is fairly new, and those have been amazing successes, absolutely great ideas. And I think it lends in what we tried to do, the initiative that we started in that part of influencing these children in the right direction is to be that example, is to show that we are willing to invest in them, is to show not only through our work, but in our officials, people who represent us, the citizens here in Lynn, that with this grant money that came through, there was actually hard work that was put into building these water parks. There was hard work that was put into redoing Lynn Tech Field, which I think is great because the Guatemalans and the Central Americans, you see them there every weekend, having a great time and, you know, just expressing love through their love of football, and that's a great thing. So I feel like I think a lot more importance, Councilor Capano, this is probably your area. I think a lot more importance should be placed in the maintenance of our neighborhood parks for the sake of proving to these children that we have you in mind. We understand how important you are to our future. We understand that if we don't invest in you, then we might as well not be investing, we're not investing in anything in that case. So I think some real importance should be put in that, because it's true we can give these children something to do, but we were all children, right? And if we can remember when we were all children and we would have happened to come across a brand new playground, or we drive into Swampscott and they got some really pretty playgrounds over there. But as a child, we were like, wow, look at this, is amazing. Bring your child for the first time to Bonkers and watch their eyes light up. Or bring them for the first time to the, what's that jungle gym with the bouncy houses and whatnot? Monkey Joe's. Bring your children to Monkey Joe's for the first time and watch their eyes light up. And I feel like we can do that. We can do that here in the city. We can do that through minor projects. We can do that through making sure that our parks are up to date, that our parks have the lights on when they need it, or the extra lights. The community garden, which was started by King Asiatic Allah along with the Highlands Coalition, that has been a resounding success. Absolutely. And just recently, this past Sunday, me and my brothers here, we were having a roundtable conversation, and one idea that came up is, how do we get more community gardens? How do we initiate that particular plan? How do we make it easy for people of a particular neighborhood to get together and start their own coalition? The most recent park that we were talking about was Warren Street Park, which was actually one of the parks that we together as a group, we helped to clean up gladly. Warren Street Park has a lot of area there. There's a court there that nobody uses. There's a little bit of grassland in the corner of that park that no one uses. Or maybe this is an initiative. Maybe this is a particular initiative as far as community gardens that we should be expanding our minds and looking throughout the city. Maybe there should be a group of maybe 2 or 3 people that maybe drive around the city. They have a map. They look where the parks are and so forth and say, this might be a good place for it. Maybe drive around, take a look. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the logistics. That's not my department. But ultimately, these are the ideas I want to share with everyone here, is that we have to, of course, we're here to stop the violence and so forth, but we need to invest in our youth so that they know they're important, so that they know they are valued, and so that they know that our investment in their future is real and gives them that responsibility to care not only for themselves, but for the next person. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There again, we have quite a bit. And you make a good point. If you would have asked somebody 3 or 4 years ago, if you were to tell somebody 3 or 4 years ago there was going to be a brand new park over by Lynn Tech, they would look at you like you're crazy. So there's a lot of people that work to make that happen. So together, people working together can do a lot. More, the sum of the collective parts is greater than each one of us as ourselves. So, that's something really good to keep in mind. I appreciate that. I also appreciate Warren Street Park. Now, if you want to get together to improve that park, I'll be right there. Okay. Okay, so.
So hello, my name's Cisco. I work over here in Straight Ahead Ministries, and I've been in Lynn for a while now. I love this city. I just want to thank you guys, for even hosting us, or for putting this down, even give us an opportunity to come together and talk about this stuff. Because like ladies were saying, this needs to be a conversation, and it's not happening as much as it should be, So thank you guys for doing this. I know this wasn't easy. But 2 things. I feel like we need teachers that teach in our schools to live in Lynn, because I feel like a lot of teachers don't live in Lynn and not necessarily not even live in Lynn, but they just don't understand Lynn, don't care enough to learn about that stuff. And the second thing is that we need role models, like Rachel was saying. We need men and women to stand up and call a spade, you know, call it what it is when you see it, you know, because it pains me when I, you know, walk down the street or drive down the street and every other car is blasting music that I know is telling women what a woman is like when it's not true, you know, telling women that the sexier you are, the prettier you are, you know, the more demeaning that you become, the easier it'll be for you to have a husband or something. And that music, and the same thing for the men, you know, saying that the more violent you are, the more respected you will be. And it pains me to see music being perpetuated like that. And when you ask folks, they just say, I like the beat, you know. That's not worth it, you know. And we need men and women to stand up, and we can't just sit here and say, yo, that's wrong. We need to stop the violence. And the violence is coming out of our speakers in our cars, you know, or in our houses, or when we put on TV, MTV and BET, you know. And not all that stuff is negative, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So I say those two things. We need that. We need that in the city. We need men and women to stand up, you know, and to just call it what it is when you see it, you know, and just stand up for what's right, you know. So thank you.
All right, we have